We get a 1, personal space, 2, personal space, 3.
Hey, hello, listeners. This is just a quick disclaimer for this week's episode. As anyone that's listened to the show before knows, there can be some adult language, and anyone that's listening for the first time, please keep that in mind. We tend to be ourselves and not filter, so occasionally a bad word might come out. If you have any children in the room, please put on some headphones or have them put on some headphones. Thank you.
That I don't even care about this. I'm not even interested in having this skin on my personal space.
You're listening to the IDP Guys with Sean, John, and Nathan, the Wizards of Fantasy Football. Your go-to source for the individual defensive player strategy. And now, 3 guys who could only make an NFL team on Madden.
Alrighty, welcome back to the IDP Guys. This is episode 117. My name is Nathan, and I'm joined with my co-host, Jonny.
Hello.
And Sean.
What's going on?
Not much. How are you guys doing? For everyone out there, we are doing another quarantine session. I recently got back from my travels in Michigan, and we don't have the studio set up yet. So we should have that for next episode.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Super. Good job, guys.
I don't know what you want me to say. You got to go on a vacation and enjoy yourself, and meanwhile, we aren't.
Yeah. So, in other news, this should be our last episode on our IDP Guys RSS feed. So make sure that if you're listening to this, you go to the Dynasty Trade Calculator podcast on your podcatcher and subscribe, because that's the network we are on now, and that's where you'll find us. So we will not be publishing to the RSS feed after this episode. And with that, let's get into the opening question. Who is someone you have 0 shares of, and why? Jonny?
Okay, so there actually aren't that many guys. Usually I have irrational hatred for multiple people. But with this being a COVID year and just with the amount of injuries happening in recent years anyway, I've been really diversifying my portfolio. And Sean knew I was going to say that.
Yeah.
But it's the truth, though. It's the truth. I don't want any one injury to destroy me more than coronavirus already is going to this year. However, I looked at all my rosters, and I have 0 Miles Jack for obvious reasons, and I have 0 Anthony Miller for less obvious reasons. Although, if you look at it, I think they should make sense. I don't trust Mitch Trubisky. And I love Nick Foles. He prevented the Patriots from winning a Super Bowl, and he's long pole Foles. But I just don't trust their passing game, more than Allen Robinson. That's as far as I trust it. So yeah, no Anthony Miller. But I am doing a ton of best ball, so maybe there. What about you guys?
So 2 players very high up on everybody's lists. 1 offense, 1 defense, and I don't have them for the same reason. So Darius Leonard and Alvin Kamara. And those 2 players are 2 of my biggest missteps in talent evaluation coming into the NFL, like as prospects. And since they entered the league, that you can't get them at a reasonable price. So for me, I didn't get them in drafts anywhere, and I don't usually like to hash out that kind of capital for big name players.
Yeah, I definitely feel you there on Darius Leonard. I have him down as mine because he's just too expensive. If you didn't get him that first season off the waiver wire, you probably don't ever have him. And then on top of it, I'll go with Kenny Golladay because he seems to get a lot of hype in the Dynasty community. And I'm a Lions fan, and his price is just still too high. Like I've always found someone else that I liked more around the spot that he gets drafted. And
Yeah,
then
I don't know if I have any Galladay either.
Really?
yeah,
I typically don't draft a lot of Lions. Just for me, I'd much rather draft Marvin Jones at his price than Kenny Galladay at his price.
yeah.
In especially definitely in redraft. Dynasty, just for me, I like Kenny Galladay, but I think his value is tied almost entirely to Stafford, and we don't know how long Stafford's going to be around. I think that if Kenny Galladay was playing with Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Galladay would not be a thing.
Yeah, and I'd love to get a share of Kenny Galladay. It's just drafting him or trading for him is just too expensive, and it's like you said, it's kind of dependent on Stafford. And I love Stafford, and I think that he's going to do great things this year if he, maintains his health. But it's still kind of up in the air. And lastly, and this isn't a victory lap, but Darius Geis has been on my don't grab list for a long time. Not because I thought there'd be anything to do with domestic violence, just because that he has a bad injury history. So
I have so much Darius Geis.
I know you were like grabbing him at like it was like penny stocks for you.
Yeah.
Like you just invest like $1,000 in penny stocks.
Yep.
For them all to go sour.
So it's just like real penny stock. Sean's now bankrupt.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly don't know what to do with those shares now either, because one of our leagues, I saw somebody get a third for them, and like in an IDP league, I'm into a third. I'd probably sell them for a third. I don't think you'd get a third many places. I've seen some trades go down today on Twitter that are like, wow, that's not even close to a third. So yeah, I think I'd rather just hold, and he's going to be not on a roster, not active, so just throw him on the IR. And I mean, I'd say like hope that he lands somewhere, but I mean, like, that's from a football perspective, obviously.
Wait till he makes it into the XFL, I guess.
Yeah, cash in big time.
What's up, guys? It's Josh,
Adam,
and Bobby
here with the Big Three IDP podcast. And if you've never listened to our show before, here's just a taste of the insanity that you will get week in and week out with the Big Three IDP podcast.
Skunks are so cute.
We just ate White Castle at like 10:45 at night.
I tell you, one I liked about it a little bit more was Jeffrey Simmons.
Ooh, did you say a Bartman, like Steve Bartman? I don't like Bartman in Chicago this year. He's going to catch too many foul balls.
You know it's all about getting real and getting down to business and getting down to the facts.
Slide 'em in, slide 'em out.
It's right.
So, if you would like more of the shenanigans that you just heard in these little snippets, be sure to subscribe to the Big Three IDP podcast wherever you get your podcast adding. Listeners are guaranteed to have a good time.
Hey, you can't afford not to do this, baby.
That's right, baby.
This week's news.
Alrighty, news heavy week. Almost none of it good. So we're getting close to the season.
As usual.
Yep. This is 2020. So the Geist news would have led, except we already talked about it a little bit, and we'll get there. This is bigger. The Big Ten, Pac-12, have essentially backed out. Will be announcing tomorrow, from everything I've read, that they're out. The ACC and the Big 12 likely out. SEC charging forward.
So real quick with the Big Ten, I believe that it was originally reported they were canceling the season. Then closer to when we started the pod, I saw that they were not planning on canceling; they were planning on postponing.
Like the Mac did.
To the spring.
Sure. You couldn't. I don't know how you do it to the spring though. The NFL draft's going to happen. What are you going to do?
So I read something earlier today when I was in the post office line for like 3 hours, that essentially all the players that would be draftable would opt out, and you'd have the season with everyone else.
Okay, so then what happens when you play a season in the spring and then have to come back and play another one in the fall?
Don't know. They didn't address that. They brought that up as a question, like, what does that mean? So you play and then have 3 months off and then come back and play, or play, then go to practice and then go back to playing.
Yeah. And then there's also the talk of, does Ohio State and Michigan leave and go to a different conference? Like, there's so much craziness that I don't know. I just feel like it's trending towards it's just not going to happen. We've been talking about this for weeks anyway, that it's not going to happen. Everything I've seen is just telling me more. It's not going to happen.
I heard that both Michigan teams voted to opt out.
Yep, I think it was just Iowa and Nebraska that voted to keep the season running.
Yeah, but it's not the players and the coaches making the vote. That's
no,
the
it's
thing.
like the ADs.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So not great, not good. We'll see what happens. By next show, we'll know for sure. So
yeah.
That was fun. I don't know, maybe. Supposedly, they said tomorrow's the announcement, so I don't know. So that was great. Also great, Darius Geis arrested for domestic and cut. Sean, take her away.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this sucks from a human perspective. It sucks from a football perspective, and I think he's probably, in my book, going to go down as one of the biggest wastes of running back talent that I've watched. Because I loved his college film. He was a lot of fun to watch in college. There were a lot of rumblings about personality concerns coming through the draft process, and none of us ever figured out what they were. There were no reports of anything. It was very confusing. His fall in the draft was very confusing, aside from the quiet reports of personality concerns, and then this happened. So I guess the takeaway here, outside of don't be a crappy human being, is that when you hear about personality concerns behind the scenes, there's generally something to it, and you may never know what they are, but there's probably something to it. And so this year's example would be Tyler Johnson. Not saying that Tyler Johnson is going to be a domestic abuser or anything like that, but when there are rumblings of personality concerns, generally they know better than we do because we don't know these people personally.
Yep. Well said. Alrighty. Some actual semi-good news. So the Matt Stafford original report that he had coronavirus was a false positive. How does this make you guys feel as Lions fans?
I mean, super glad that one of our players didn't have coronavirus. It sucks, and nobody wants to go through that, and no one wants to wish that on anybody else. So, really good news.
So I would say this opens up a big can of worms, because what would have happened if this happened during the season? Say a player comes in, does their test, gets the false positive, out for 2 weeks.
He wasn't out for 2 weeks, though.
No. What I'm saying is, then the game gets played before the results of the next test come in for it to be negative.
Well, I think he got tested like a bunch of times daily afterward.
Yeah, but it was a solid like 2 or 3 days before it came out as a false positive.
Sure.
Maybe even longer than that.
So you might miss one game on false positives.
Yeah. So
you could miss one game for tripping over your ankle.
One game in the NFL is the difference between playoffs and not. And you
Sure.
know that the Lions are going to have like 5 false positives this season. That's going to lose us 5 games. Like,
Sure.
what I'm saying is this opens up like losing a player for no reason because the test is inaccurate.
It's not for no reason though. What you're you're sacrificing one game of a player to prevent the spread of a virus.
And I understand that. What I'm saying is when when it comes back as a false positive, and you look back at it, how many fans are going to be pissed off? And that player, didn't get to the game. All I'm saying is that it's kind of opening up a can of worms of a possibility where like teams could lose games, lose players, and it not be because they were actually sick.
Right, but that's the price you pay for keeping actual positives out of games. That's just the price you pay. That's all it is, and there's no way around that, and there's no way to fix that. So, it is what it is, and you go with it, and everybody's.
And what if like a player's games? Do they lose their game salary if they have to miss that game?
No.
Or if they're like incentives, like
they might
look at the running backs. So like now you're talking about like people are losing out on money on the chance that they might come up positive and then it be a false positive.
But if we're gonna look at game incentives where people are making hundreds of thousands to tens of millions a year versus player safety and health, again, like this is the price you pay.
All I'm saying is that it just opens up questions.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for me, it doesn't. There aren't any real questions. It's just accepted that like this is the test we have. This is the best we can do. We're going to do the best we can and hope that it works out. And like there are going to be false positives. There are also going to be like real positives, and those people that are real positives are going to take some of the false positives with them. So.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun season. Okay, other coronavirus stuff. CJ Mosley opts out. I don't think we covered that last show. It's been a minute. Damian Williams opts out. I don't know if we covered that either.
We haven't covered any of the opt-outs.
Okay, Patrick Chung, Dante Hightower, Devin Funchess, Michael Pierce, Star Lutulele, other guys that are less important. The CJ Mosley one's big, obviously. The Williams one is massive, obviously. What else? Impact, Fallout.
I have a roster where right before the show started, I had to post basically begging someone to trade me a linebacker because I have Hightower and Mosley. And I have Hightower in like probably 90% of my leagues, to be honest. He was one of my late round linebackers that I just grabbed everywhere. So that was a bigger loss for me than a lot of people. But yeah, the Mosley's the big one. Tre'Davious White opting in was great news for fantasy football.
Yeah.
But
it was close. It came down to the wire.
It did.
Yeah. Yep. The Mosley one's interesting because Avery Williamson's coming off the ACL. Cashman Hewitt, there's still an argument there of which guy plays. They just got Onwuasor. So what I did was I'm in this all IDP league that just started up. So I grabbed every Jets linebacker at the end of my draft, all of them. I own the entire position now. That's one way around it.
It's going to be some no-name guy off the waiver wire that's gonna hit big there.
Very well could be. Okay, speaking of other guys that opted out, this is not NFL related, but Rondale Moore and Rashad Bateman also opted out, which, I mean, this was bigger a couple weeks ago when we thought there was going to be college fantasy. This was massive, but now it's just like, okay.
Micah Parsons also.
Oh, I didn't know that. Him too. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that happened. Things that also happened. Joey Bosa. New deal, a lot of money. Good for you, Joey Bosa.
Yep.
Other things. AB suspended. We haven't talked about this clown in a minute. Antonio Brown suspended 8 games, and Seattle is interested. Somewhat.
Dude, is there a better year to be a complete an utter moron and be suspended for 8 games. Like, some team is going to have their wide receivers decimated by COVID at some point this year, and he's going to get a shot.
Probably. Yeah.
No other, like any other year, there's a good chance he just never plays again.
So I thought he retired.
No, that was him being crazy. Is
forced retirement.
Well, right, but he had announced some retirement. So how did they approve the reinstatement? Because
he came out of retirement. He was back and forth with the league for like a month where he's like tweeting that he's done and he hates the NFL and all that, and then be like, I want to play again.
Yeah.
Like literally within the same day he would do that stuff.
Yeah, he's a crazy person. Yes.
I've met a few of those.
Yep. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. Pete Carroll open to Josh Gordon return. This, I think, makes a lot of sense this year also. Plus they laxed on the marijuana stuff, so it should be good to go. Like,
we don't even know if the last one was marijuana. That's the concerning part. Because he tested positive under substance abuse, but it was never specified as marijuana. That was the concerning thing. If it was just marijuana, great, let's go. If it was something else, then there might still be concern there.
Seattle would know that though, right? Before they signed him.
I mean, I think he loses his money if he like ends up getting kicked off for substance abuse. I don't know that for sure, so don't quote me on that. But either way, I love Josh Gordon, and I would love to see him play.
Yeah, I'd love to see him play too, just not in Seattle.
I'd love to see him in a Lions jersey. We need another receiver.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be.
I'd buy that jersey so fast, man.
Really?
Yeah. I might just buy it now, and then just hope
make
it works out. Yeah.
All right.
I got the Brian Hoyer Lions jersey.
Jesus.
Hey, how'd that? Did Brian Hoyer ever get to you with the charity?
I saw I was missing a couple of DMs right before we started the show, so he might have. But yeah, we're donating $120 to charity to have this guy draft Brian Hoyer the 101 of their draft, and I'm pretty excited about that.
That's cool. All right.
Yes, it is.
You know what? The Rock is on in the background. They're having that fight at the end where they throw the grenade in the bathtub.
Oh, I'm thinking of the scene where Nicolas Cage delivers like one of the worst lines of all time, where he I think it was he pulls up a bazooka and asks him if he likes Elton John, and then tells him why.
The Rocket Man, because you're the Rocket Man. Yeah,
it's like, oh my God, how did that line make it into a movie? That's so bad.
No, wait. What people don't remember is this movie came out a week or two before Independence Day, and everyone remembers how great Independence Day was. The Rock was as good a movie. Easy.
The Rock doesn't have the awesome Independence Day speech, though.
No, that's true. The Bill Pullman speech is pretty great.
It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Plus, what's his name?
Randy Quaid.
Randy Quaid, yeah. The better Quaid brother.
Yes, right on.
Although he's gone nuts. Like,
oh yeah,
he's a conspiracy. He's like playing the part now. He's a conspiracy theorist guy, I think.
Yep. Only in America. Alrighty. Jordan Reed signs with San Francisco. Anyone worried about their Kittle shares?
No.
I don't have any because they throw 10 times a game.
Jordan Reed really should retire. Man, like I'm worried for that guy. How is that guy not worried for that guy?
Yeah.
There's so many concussions, man. Like, just retire. Call it a career. He had a good career. You were a fantastic player. Although maybe this is the right spot for him. Just play on the bench, play a reserve role. Don't play very often. Protect yourself. Play a couple snaps a game. I don't know. Maybe this is good for him.
Yeah. It was something. It made the news. Things that also made the news. Doug Peterson got coronavirus. Get well soon, Doug.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
That's the nicest thing I think you've ever said about.
I told him to eat my ass ass last year after he guaranteed a win over the Cowboys, and we smoked them in Philadelphia. That was awesome.
Don't ever guarantee a win.
Never. Okay, something that actually pretty wild happened this last week. So you guys remember the draft app from last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then FanDuel purchased it, and everyone was like, wow, now FanDuel's going to own draft. And they came out and said, we're going to put draft in the FanDuel app, and we're going to have best ball. And we're, what, less than a month from the season, or a month from the season, something like that. And no best ball in FanDuel. However, DraftKings last week released best ball, and it's really good. It's great, actually. They didn't even have to go buy a company to do it. They just hired a guy to make it, and it's awesome. Have you guys played it, seen it?
I have not.
I haven't
but they were just killing competition. Is basically what it was.
Looks like it. But yeah, man, DK. I don't know.
So, do you remember a couple of years back when you were just starting off in daily, and I was kind of doing it a little more heavier than I am now. And the playoffs, I believe it was DraftKings that had the IDP spot.
Oh, it's one of them. Yeah.
So I'm curious if DraftKings might be more
I don't do
closer
daily.
to
It'd be bad for
adding
me.
IDP.
Yeah, I don't know. Sean, you might be okay at it.
I believe I'd be okay at it. I also believe that it's built for us to lose money, and I would definitely lose money.
Yeah, I mean, I've never lost money playing it, but it's possible.
John's really smart.
Oh boy, here we go.
It's
Johnny
true.
Just hold the Johnny the Greek session early here.
But yeah, anyway, that was cool. Jarvis Landry reactivated from the pup. That was good.
Yeah.
Yep. Did you guys see the Tyreek and McCall Hardman foot race?
No. Who won?
Take a guess.
I would guess Tyreek.
By a good amount, actually.
By a good amount, really?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Hardman's fast.
They're both really fast. Yeah, check it out. It was all over Twitter yesterday or the day before. It was pretty cool.
Had to have been yesterday. I was out of commission yesterday.
Yeah, it might have been yesterday. Yep. But that was pretty neat. Also, Reuben Foster activated from the pup. What do we think his role is with old man Thomas Davis there and John Bostic? Blah.
He'll start. The bigger thing here is that it happened either the same day or the day after they cut Geis for domestic violence, which is what Reuben Foster was originally kicked off the 49ers for. That said, charges were dropped. Who knows what happened there? But very bizarre move on the Washington football team's part to do that with that timing. They could have waited.
Yeah.
Well, it's the culture change, isn't it? That's what they're going on about. I feel like they, more than any other team, has eyes on them. And if they hadn't done something, it would have removed all of the progress they've already been trying to make.
I'm not saying they shouldn't have cut Geis. I'm saying that reactivating Foster the day after they cut Geis was a weird move.
True.
But yeah, Washington is a super interesting case because for a while there, when their name was the Redskins, it was to the point where they could do whatever the hell they wanted because their PR couldn't get any worse. Everybody already knew they were scumbags and all that. And then it got so bad that they had to change their name, and now they're doing this whole culture change, and now they can't get away with anything. They will not be able to get away with anything for the foreseeable future.
Yep, that'll be a nice couple easy wins this year. Can't wait.
Oh, so just one last thing. I want to place my bet on the Washington's football team's final name.
Please be the Sentinels.
No, it's the Red Tails.
That's the Vegas favorite.
Well, there's evidence in the clothing line and all the promotions they've been putting out, all of the designs. It's yellow into brown and then a red end. So almost like a yellow Mustang, like
Sure.
the airplane, the Mustang with the red tail.
I think they still got to negotiate with the guy in New Hampshire who trademarked all the Vegas favorite names before they could get to it.
Yeah, but that's
really,
that's my bet.
My stake for the next 5 years would be the name change. If they name it the Sentinels and the Washington football team gets named after a Keanu Reeves football movie. If they name it after the replacement Washington team, I will lose it. And I might just become a Washington fan.
Yeah.
I might just be a Washington Sentinels fan. That'll be they couldn't replace the Browns as my 2, but they'd be my 3.
What if I could probably make you a Washington Sentinels t-shirt.
Yes,
there you go.
actually, I'm in for that. I think people would buy that too.
Yeah, I don't know. I like the Red Tails. I'm a history nut. I think that'd be cool, and it's a step in the right direction for them.
Dude, you take the Red Tails over a clown organization naming their team after a Keanu Reeves movie?
Yes, I would.
I really don't like Keanu Reeves.
Dude, give me the Keanu Reeves movie. Also, get out. Keanu Reeves is a saint.
What,
you can't speak?
He's like the nicest.
Terrible.
He's like known as the nicest guy in Hollywood.
Well, I'm sure he is.
And
he's a great guy.
You're not going to play Cyberpunk because Keanu Reeves in it? Like,
I never said that.
Okay.
I feel like you said that.
I just said I don't like him.
I feel like you said you hate The Matrix. I feel like you said you hate.
I don't really like The Matrix.
Whoa!
Like his acting.
You're
his
a problem.
acting in The Matrix.
You're part of the problem.
Point
part
Break.
Of the problem.
The original Point Break. Not a fan.
It's been so long since I've seen it, but I haven't seen anything where Keanu Reeves has acted well.
Bill and Ted. Bill and Ted was.
He plays Bill and Ted right, but I would say he's typecast.
What? What?
Like, that's just how he always talks.
But no, not at all. Bill and Ted.
He is just Ted in every movie.
He plays a totally different character than, like, you can't tell me that when they started writing The Matrix, that Ted is who they envisioned playing Neo.
No,
or John Wick. Like, John Wick, we're gonna have this. We're gonna have this.
When they
like,
wrote Bill and Ted, they looked at how Keanu Reeves actually talked, and then just wrote that into the movie.
Which would make him a stellar actor in The Matrix.
One movie.
And John Wick.
Right.
Wick, dude, he's a killer. John Wick.
I'm not saying the movie's not good. Like, John Wick, I do like, but I just don't like Keanu Reeves acting.
I mean, I won't debate. I won't call him the greatest actor of all time, but I think he's good in the stuff he's in because they know what he is and he does a good job with it.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? Speed is grown-worthy.
No,
grown-worthy.
It is awesome.
His acting is grown-worthy in that movie.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
I'm not arguing Keanu Reeves is a good actor. I'm arguing that he's in a lot of good movies because people know what Keanu Reeves is, and they put him in the right movies. And on top of that,
I think he
he's
makes
an awesome
Speed a worse movie, and if they had put anyone else in, it would have been even more of a classic.
So all of your beef with Keanu Reeves and the amazing person that he is, and saying that donating to charity is bad, and just
I never said anything.
I feel like that's what you said.
Nate
he speaks.
All I've heard is donating to charity is bad, and Keanu Reeves is also bad.
Yeah, Nate hates puppies and children, and yep, that's what I heard too.
Puppies, children, Keanu
Reeves. All right, give me all the hate. I want everyone who loves Keanu Reeves to at me on Twitter.
I'm just gonna find Keanu Reeves and be like, "Hey,
I'm waiting for the backlash on this."
From a John Wick super fan, this guy who I used to call my friend hates you.
We might get our second public apology on the show. Next show.
I will not apologize for my take.
That's what you say now. That's what you say now.
Just wait till it comes out. Actually, you don't even have to wait. We already know that he's doing all these
It's all going to be alt accounts from Sean. His burner accounts are going to attack me.
I'm firing him up now.
Him and Dynasty Boyd.
Oh, Jesus. All righty, last couple here. This one actually pertains to you guys. Tavon Wilson cut yesterday. Thoughts?
He was cut a while ago, wasn't he?
Yesterday.
Or he was just not re-signed.
They cut him yesterday.
Did they re-sign him and then cut him?
I don't know,
swear-
but there was. He said, "Thank you, Detroit. I'm out of here. See ya." And then everyone was like, "He got released yesterday." That's what I saw.
I think he was hoping to re-sign, and then they just didn't, and it became clear that they weren't going to. So then he said, "Peace."
Maybe that's it, but whatever. He's gone either way.
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
He wasn't going to start, so.
Okay. There are a probably good number of IDP players that would still draft him, much the way they're drafting Sean Williams this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So don't do that.
Well, now he's got the no team designation, so
We'll see if that helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully that'll get it through.
And last but not least for news today, Lamar Miller signs with the Patriots.
Yeah. I like this for them a lot. This is like a really crafty move on their part. I hate it for I don't hate him for fantasy. There's a lot of people out there that really hate this move for fantasy where like they're talking about how much of an idiot you would have to be to go sign him off the waivers. Like, dude, I signed him a week ago, or in the last week. When we expanded rosters to deal with COVID, he was one of my first guys that I signed because you're going to have injuries at running back. You're going to have people opt out. You're going to have, opt-outs happened already, but you're going to have people come down with COVID. And on top of that, you just have the regular veteran running back signings that happen around this time of year. Like, I signed him weeks ago because this is the type of thing that happens every single year. And people go crazy over it. So you have a sell window if you have them, and if you don't sell them, you might still get some value out of it because the Patriots are super unpredictable. I'm not saying go and trade for him. I'm not saying blow your waiver wire budget on him, but this is not a bad waiver wire pickup as many people are indicating. There's a good chance that he does nothing this year. He's cut, whatever. But you're rolling the dice, which is what you're doing on the waivers this time of year. You're taking your shots and you're making educated shots. And Lamar Miller was 2 years ago a talented running back, or at least a productive running back. I never thought he was that talented. He signed to the Patriots, who tend to use whoever the hell they want. And it very well could be Lamar Miller. And you're going to the team that first made an offer to him. It's not like he's been bouncing around the market and a bunch of people thought about it, whatever. One team went out, signed him, decided he would be valuable. I think that's valuable to me. So I don't know. To all the people that think it's a terrible signing, sure, you may end up being right, but I think with the information we have now, I think that it's a decent waiver wire ad.
The Patriots seem to me like that fantasy team that waits on running back in the draft and then signs 6 of them, right in the mid rounds.
Aside from
they have
Sony Michel,
a lot of good, decent running backs that have been productive in the past, and it's any Sunday, you never know who's gonna go off.
Sure. Aside from James White, who's always
right, James White. It's I don't know, but this just seems to add to their pile of decent running backs.
Yeah, well, James White's not going to this year when Newton sails it 40 yards over his head on a 5-yard out route.
Oh, man. Chris McCaffrey did just fine.
I kid. All right. And a couple notes. We did fire up the Survival League this year. Nate, what's the prize? Digital magazine of your choice, or one or the other, or what's the deal?
So it is a free digital copy of the IDP rookie guide for everyone that joins that doesn't have it. And then I'll probably throw a shirt in for the grand prize. Maybe give the grand prize person a membership to the site, a free full magazine membership.
Wow.
That's
That
a
is
$50 value.
Yeah, that is incredible. That is way more than I thought we were originally getting. I thought we were just getting one digital magazine for the winners. So there you go, folks. That's a great deal. So it's on Yahoo. Group ID 2663. Password is, take a guess.
Joey Bosa.
Joey Bosa. One word, all lowercase, just like every year. So you can either go on Twitter, and I tweeted it out. You can hit the link that way, or you can just put in the group ID and the password. We will be doing that likely more than once this year because usually by week 8 we're done. And last but not least, congratulations to SpaceX on landing successfully. America's back in space. America, F, yeah.
Jesus.
Nice. One thing I will say about usually we run paid leagues. I think I'm going to skip this year because of COVID, just because it would really suck to. Yeah,
Right.
it sucked to have a bunch of people pay into a redraft league, and then the season get canceled, and then just you're out, or like trying to figure all that stuff is just a terrible idea. So I'll consider it for next year and bringing it back. I'm also I don't know, really moving away from redraft. We've got that league that just started up, and man, redraft.
I'm still going to play my. Yeah. Well, I mean, you talk to an idiot, you get an idiot response. Like, why are you surprised by that?
No, I get it, but it's just even my home league, Infidels, I just started up Super League because I don't know, something about it's just not as fun.
Nah, it's always going to be fun for me because you got to be well rounded.
True. No, I get it. I think it's also just a little bit of league fatigue this year because Sean's 50 startups, and then I've got a bunch of
I'm going to fire up another one right now.
Yeah.
As soon as this is over, I'm firing up another one and just call it something about Nate.
MyFantasyFootballShirt.com is your place to get top quality fantasy football gear. Get yourself some merch from some of your favorite podcasts. Need some custom shirts for your league? Contact us today. Just go to MyFantasyFootballShirt.com.
Gut check.
All right, so this is the part of the show where we pair together 3 sets of players, 2 defenders, and 1 set of offensive players. We talk about their merits against each other, who we'd rather roster or start or draft, and then we send it out in tweets to see what Twitterland thinks. So we'll start off with a pair of safeties, Detroit's Tracy Walker versus Denver's Justin Simmons. 116 votes, 58% Walker.
Okay.
Alrighty. Pair of defensive ends, Jacksonville's Josh Allen versus Cincinnati's Sam Hubbard.
I have feelings on this. This better go my way. I'm quitting.
109 votes, 72% Josh Allen.
Let's go. Okay.
All right.
I was gonna throw my headset at you.
Yeah. Pair of wide receivers, Buffalo's Stephon Diggs, Cleveland's Jarvis Landry. 116 votes, 59% Jarvis Landry.
Go either way on that.
Yeah, I think that's interesting though. The Diggs name value, but whatever, it's cool. Alrighty, this week. Oh, we had a couple of bonus ones.
We had the bonus
ones.
ones?
Yeah.
Throw out the bonus
these
ones.
These are the ones I care about. Let's go.
So last week we had who you got, Josh Allen or Josh Allen, and surprisingly, Josh Allen won. Defensive end, Jacksonville, 53% to 47%.
Only 53%.
329 votes too. Shitload of votes.
Yeah.
What's wrong with people?
I know.
Oh God. Okay.
Wild. And the other one.
Sure.
Who you got now? Derwin James or Jamal Adams? 60% Derwin James, 243 votes.
What was the percentage before that? Do you remember?
It was closer to 50-50.
Yeah.
Was
it was real close.
and
It was
it
like
was
55-45 or something. Jamal.
Right. And it
Let
was
me see if I
Jamal.
can pull
Yeah,
it up.
so 15% swing.
Yeah.
I got it right here. Oh no. It was Jamal Adams from the Jets, 36. Derwin James from the Chargers, 64.
What?
So Jamal Adams went up.
What?
Yep.
Okay.
He gained 4%.
Should we do this again now that CJ Mosley? Oh, I guess he's gone now, so it doesn't matter. But wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right.
God, also imagine being the Jets and trading away Jamal Adams only to have CJ Mosley opt out and just losing your two best defensive players. Like,
yeah, they said, I read something on Jets Wire the other day that Greg Williams is a little frustrated with the lack of playmakers.
Sure. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't have playmakers.
Yeah, Quentin Williams, and that's it.
Blake Cashman for life. Let's go.
Jesus. Alrighty, this week we got 3 more sets. First one, pair of defensive ends. Both guys that are iffy. You'll see what I'm talking about in a second. First one is Yannick Ngakoue, currently deciding whether or not he's going to play this year. Last year, 36 solo tackles, 5 assists, 13 tackles for loss, 8 sacks, 15 QB hits, 4 forced fumbles, 6 pass defense, 1 pick, 1 touchdown.
Let me say this. He's going to play this year. He just fired his agent and hired a new one. He's going to play. You don't do that if you're not going to play. If you're not going to play, you just opt out and you keep your agent and you see what happens in the meantime, or you deal with it, He's going to play.
Yeah, and like you were saying about the CBA too, it just makes sense for him to play. Yeah. But when people are drafting and doing startups, everyone's looking at him like he's iffy. That's what I'm seeing. He's falling.
Sure.
Yep.
Other guy, quote, iffy. Jadeveon Clowney, last year, 21 solo tackles, 10 assists, 7 tackles for loss, 13 QB hits, 3 pass defense, only 3 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 1 pick, 1 touchdown. I'm taking Yannick.
I should take Yannick, but I'm taking Clowney.
Is that a price thing, or?
It's a talent thing. I think Clowney is super talented and just hasn't put it together. And I think he could. And it's one of those things where, he's just a player I'm not giving up on because I know that he's capable of being a double-digit sack perennial player. I'm not saying he's going to be, but I know he's capable of that, and I want that.
So, question is, Clowney hasn't signed anywhere yet.
Nope.
And yeah, I think I'm gonna go Ngakoue, just for the fact that Clowney could go somewhere and be a linebacker.
That's fair.
Because he is an edge.
Yeah.
So you have that, on top of not being signed, he also can go someplace and be in a bad position for fantasy.
True that. It's a good point. It's a very good point. That was really good, actually. You're on your game.
Did I surprise you?
We are so shocked by your insight right now.
Yeah.
Just blown away, John.
Yeah.
We're just we don't know what to do with this information now.
Right. Jesus. I got to get back on track here. All right. Next, we got a pair of outside linebacker guys considered by most to be the top 2 this season. First one would be TJ Watt, obviously. 35 solo tackles, 20 assists, 14 tackles for loss, 36 QB hits last year, 14 and a half sacks, 8 forced fumbles, 8 pass defense, 2 picks. Up against Shaq Barrett, Mr. I sit down to pee. 45.
This is not a fair poll. This is just an attempt at making Shaq Barrett look like crap. That's all this is. Don't even read the stats. It's the answer.
He's got good stats, though. He's got good stats.
It doesn't matter. The answer is TJ Watt. Everyone knows that, and you're just doing this to slander Shaq Barrett, who you have an unjustifiable grudge against because I picked him and you didn't.
No, but
go ahead, read the stats.
Thank you. No, there is one interesting part in these stats. Okay, so 45 solo tackles, 13 assists, 19 tackles for loss, which is pretty good. He has more QB hits. He had 37 QB hits last year. 19 and a half sacks, 2 pass defense, 6 forced fumbles, 1 interception. And I mean, I'd probably go TJ Watt, but it's the same thing. It's an inconsistent outside linebacker that I'm probably not going to draft. So neither.
So, question
But
here.
you did draft him several places.
Yeah, because there are teams and there are places with the right scoring that I want one of those guys on my team, and those guys being Chandler Jones, Shaq Barrett, T.J. Watt, Khalil Mack, that thing.
Mhm. So, one stat that you don't usually include that I've been kind of thinking more about from listening to other podcasts in relation to edge players is QB pressures. TJ Watt last year had 42 pressures. Shaq Barrett had 51.
Wow.
So he was getting
Hold
to
on.
the quarterback more often, and then having the stats.
What's happening here? You came into this
with
show.
it.
You came into this show and said that you did no prep and that we were gonna have to carry the load. And then you come out here just dropping bombs. What's going on? I feel like we've been
We've been
Give me
had.
about 5.
we've been duped.
Give me about 5 minutes to wake up from my blackout and be like, "What
Yeah.
happened?"
What was the what's the quote from the Firefest or whatever? Where he's like, I've been blank and hoodwinked and whatever. Do you not know what I'm talking about?
What, that documentary, the Firefest one?
Oh no, it was the quote from was it Ja Rule that did that?
Oh, I think so.
Yeah. It was his quote about it. It's an awesome quote. I'll find it for you later. We'll talk about it later.
Who you taking, Nate? Who you taking?
I mean, it's an interesting stat to think about. I'm not really a Shaq Barrett fan. I think I've got him one place just because you got to have like everyone, right?
Now you're talking.
I like TJ Watt.
TJ Watt is the right answer here.
Yeah.
You know who cost less than both of them and had almost as good a year and no one talks about, though? Bud Dupree.
Bud Dupree is very similar to Shaq Barrett. They're both one-year wonder guys that I believe got either tagged or one-year deal. That's just where they're at, where they had high expectations for these players, and they didn't make good on them until this past year. TJ Watt is the truth. He's a good player. There's no risk there. You know he's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So I do need to give some credit to Tom Kissenberry in his interview on the Big Three podcast for the Nugget on the pressures.
Yeah,
so there's that.
It's a big PFF thing when you're looking at prospects and stuff like that. Sacks are largely luck. It is what it is. Because whether or not you create pressure and get to the quarterback is your talent perspective. Whether the quarterback gets rid of the ball, moves up in the pocket or where he goes or moves into somebody else's sack, that is out of your control. The thing that is in your control is creating the pressure. That's where the talent comes from, which is why it's a more stable statistic per PFF.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, and last but not least, we got a pair of quarterbacks. These guys have been going right next to each other in Dynasty startups, so I figured let's see what everyone thinks. First one would be Kyler Murray. Last year was his rookie year, so let's take this with a grain of salt. It's probably going to get better, especially with Hopkins there. 349 completions for 3,722 air yards, 20 touchdowns, 12 picks, 544 rush yards, though. 2 rushing touchdowns, and he was sacked 48 times. That's a lot. Versus Dakota Prescott of the Dallas Cowboys. How about them Cowboys?
Unsubscribe.
All right. Last year,
Unsubscribe harder.
388 completions for 4,902 yards, 30 touchdowns, 11 picks, was only sacked 23 times. However, only had 277 rush yards, but 3 rushing touchdowns. You already know who I want. Who do you guys want?
I want Kyler. I think if Dak sticks with the Cowboys long term, I want Dak.
Yeah.
It's just less risk. It's a toss up who I would want in terms of like upside. I think upside I'd take Kyler Murray, but for me, a lot of it comes down to risk. And right now, the Cowboys not paying Dak makes me feel like they're not all that committed. So if Dak were to go to another team, would he be as productive? If he were to go play for the Bears, would he be the Dak Prescott we know now? I don't think so. Kyler Murray, I think if he plays well, he gets a second deal, which means that you get him for this rookie contract plus another 4 years. So you get, maybe 8 years out of him, assuming that in addition to that extension, you also get the 5th year option. So for me, I'm taking Kyler. I've been in a weird position in a lot of these startups where I could draft either one. And I've taken Dak in a lot of those places. So it is close for me for sure.
I'm going to go Kyler Murray. Just because I know John's going to go Dak Prescott.
Oh, of course. Of course I'm going Prescott. He's got the far better weapons around him, and they are going to sign him. If they don't sign him, I'll put an enema in my ass on the podcast.
But stop doing that. Stop promising that. No one wants to see that.
I don't think you quite understand our listeners, readers, Sean.
Apparently I don't. No, I'm saying right now, people don't want to see that. Wear an Eagles jersey for a year. Do that. That's much better.
I'm not buying any Eagles jersey.
We'll get you a Carson Wentz jersey, and then you got to wear it on the pod for a year, and you got to tilt the camera down so we can see it.
Sure. While I'm putting an enema in.
Nice. Yeah. Good stuff. So let's talk listener questions.
Nobody calls that good stuff. Nobody. That's terrible content.
It's called like Tuesday here.
Just slinging garbage content.
It's par for the course with Jonny. I mean,
I know.
How many videos have we posted to Twitter of like popping?
I mute that stuff. Like if this word pops up in Johnny's feed, I don't want to see it. Johnny
with the X-Lax, Johnny
sends a video and I can't see the preview. I'm not opening. It's not happening.
You know who is into this though? IDP dude. Remember that stupid quarantine shot challenge thing that was going around because that's what we do in this country is dumb stuff like that. Remember that?
Yeah.
So everyone did the stupid shot challenge. They sent it to me. I'm like, hey, I don't drink, so I took a bunch of X-Lax pills instead.
That's the one I saw.
Yeah, I tagged the IDP dude, and he took a shot of vodka and a handful of X-Lax pills.
Which means we actually have somebody at our company that's worse than you.
Well, I mean, he did cause a couple people to like leave the chats once.
Right, permanently. Yeah, over meats and feats.
Yeah, meats and feats. We'll leave it at that. And let's get into listener questions. So there's 3 great ways for you to ask us a question. You can go to idpguys.org and hit the contact form and send an email directly over. We have one of those that we're going to be answering today. You can tweet at us at idpguys. You can give us a call, 313-986-1473. Leave a voicemail. We will play it on the show. And
there's the gas.
There it comes.
And lastly, if you become a subscriber, you can get into our subscriber chat. John likes to pull a couple questions from there from time to time to answer on the show. But the nice thing about the subscriber chat is all of our writers are there, so you get your questions answered 24/7, 365. Even if you don't like the answer and continue to ask it over and over of every different analyst, you can do it. So with that, let's jump into our first question. This comes from the contact form, and I'll just give the first part. It's SDK Wob. And he asks, he says, "Hey there, I've been digging the podcast as it's not easy to find good IDP info." He's asking about looking for rankings this year, defenses less inspired. So his scoring: 2 points a tackle, 2 points a sack, 4 interception, 4.5 for fumbles.
Forced fumble.
Forced fumble, 2.25 for fumble recovery. Setup is 1 DT, 2 DL, 3 LBs, 2 DB, 1 CB. He needs to pick 2 keepers: Malcolm Jenkins,
So
DJ
wait,
Swearinger.
Did you say 4 points per tackle?
2 points.
No, 2 points.
4 interception.
Yeah.
2 points per tackle, and what was it per sack?
2.
Okay, so sacks mean nothing. It's all about
Right.
tackles in this game. All right.
Yes.
So Malcolm Jenkins, DJ Swearinger, Calais Campbell, Derek Barnett, Anthony Walker, Cole Holcomb, Tyler Davison, Eli Apple, and D Ford. Needs
Anthony
2
Walker.
keepers.
Cole Holcomb.
Anthony Walker,
Probably.
Cole Holcomb.
Yeah. Honestly, it depends how big the league is. I don't know if I'd keep any of them, to be honest. I might just dip into the draft pool and keep those roster spots open, but just because it's so tackle heavy. So like going into this draft, you should be looking at how, like, basically set your rankings by tackles. That's all that matters. Everything else is going to be random and it's not going to be that valuable to you. Just look at the guys that are going to get opportunities. So prioritize guys that are going to fill in on the Jets for CJ Mosley. Prioritize someone like Reuben Foster, who I think is going to be filling in on the Redskins. Like, just make sure that your linebackers are studs. That is where you're going to get your points in this format. Sacks mean next to nothing, so D-line should not be important. And interceptions are so infrequent that you should only be looking at tackle-heavy safeties.
Mm-hmm.
Linebackers are key in your format. That's all that matters.
Yeah, you know who'd be great in your format? Sam Hubbard and Cameron Hayward.
What? Why?
Yeah. Sam Hubbard led all defensive ends and tackles last year, and Cam Hayward was right behind him.
Oh, sure. Okay. For defensive ends, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What'd you think I was
So another thing to
I
add
thought you were talking about
is,
overall.
Oh, no.
just for the listeners out there, he had Kuechly before. Kuechly was one of his keepers, so he
that's
lost
rough
out there.
That is a bummer. That'll happen.
That's too bad, man. Good luck to you, though, sir. And last but not least, we had a question that was submitted to me by Twitter user Violent Diarrhea 420, who said, "What
It was
new?"
probably just John's burner, to be honest.
No, that's not my burner. Who says,
Burner
"What?"
confirmed.
Yeah. What new tools or resources will you guys have this season? Nate, you can field that. I just want to say real quick, obviously, if there's no college season, there's not going to be a college waivers article. So I may just do the start sitter again if that happens.
All right. So we are definitely going to have start sits and matchup charts from IDP Dude and Joey the Tooth. They worked on those last year. We're going to have weekly rankings for redraft coming up. IDP Dude helps with that. For DFD, DynastyFootballDigest.com, we're actually getting projections this year. Weekly and season-long projections. They come from Cody Parker, who's, if you guys remember the draft party, he was involved with that. And so really excited there. And yeah, so we got a lot of stuff for this year as far as, tools and resources to use. We are working on getting snap counts This is something that I'll be working with Sean. I'm not 100% sure if we'll have it ready for week 1, but it's on the docket to do it. And then obviously next year we've got just a ton of stuff that I'm working on getting going.
Yeah, this year is definitely a weird one just because we don't know what's going to happen with the season. But assuming the season happens, you guys may get some articles out of me this year, which hasn't happened in a while because
have you written an article this year?
Yeah, I believe I put out like a 30 to 50,000 word article.
That was it. You just had your big bust.
I can't quite remember, but I feel like I put out this awesome epic draft board that was like, the best content on the internet that anybody's ever seen.
You just do one a year, right?
This year I've done
one article.
This year I've done one. Last year I did a ton. I did a bunch of articles last year before the draft. I was big on Miles Sanders, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, all those guys that ended up being awesome. And I was really low on N'Keal Harry, who everybody really, really liked. Just saying.
A little late for a victory lap, right?
No, I think this is the perfect time for a victory lap. I still have that draft board from this year up on my pinned tweet on Twitter, so go check it out. I got, I think, 150 or 200 players ranked. I think it's 250 players ranked and 150 players written about, where my brother and I wrote a good piece of writing on each player. But go check it out because it's awesome, and it's the most accurate thing that you're ever going to see. And anybody I say is good is going to be good, and anybody I say is bad is going to be bad.
Statement Games is a free-to-play social game with a different twist on fantasy sports. Enter contests based around your favorite sports and rank 10 prop bet statements, competing in a DFS tournament style. Win your contest, get coins, then cash them in for real gift cards. Join Statement Games today via website or app store and get 60 coins free.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we've got a very special treat for you. My friend, my buddy from Twitter, my fellow degenerate, Lamont, at LAM0NT87 on Twitter. Lamont, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I'm so excited. I'm glad you guys invited me. I always have fun hopping on podcasts. It doesn't happen that often and stuff, but anytime you guys ask me to, I'm with it right away. So I'm ready to rock and roll.
Awesome, man. Yeah, it's glad to finally talk to you in person. We've been shooting the shit on Twitter for God knows how long now.
Yeah,
it's been a while, but yeah, dude. So we'll get you started with the normal background shenanigans. So when did you start watching football?
I started watching football probably as like a kid when I was like 7 or 8 years old. I was in park leagues, just playing basketball, baseball, and football. So they would put you on like a team, and then like I can't remember like what teams I was on, but anytime I was on a part of a team, like say I was like on like the Packers, I was I was rooting for the Packers at like 7 or 8 years old and stuff like that. I mean, my family is from Bangladesh, I'm like first generation here, so I don't have the same interests as them. We don't listen to the same music. They don't watch sports and stuff. So I had to like figure a lot of things out on my own, So as a kid, they would put me in like park leagues for basketball, baseball, and football. And then I just started watching when I was young. And it was during the 90s. But something that happened, and I hate that it happened, I regret it. But there was just so many dynasties in the 90s that as a kid, it was just like it was exhausting to watch. Like you wanted to see something different, but every single year the Bulls were winning. Every year the Cowboys were winning. Every year the Yankees were winning. So then I kind of almost like fell off of sports during middle school and a little bit into high school because I was doing other stuff like partying and other things and stuff. But then I jumped back into sports heavy because of my a group of my best friends. They're just sports fanatics and stuff. Back in like 2000. or 5 or something. I've always loved football. I kind of fell off of basketball and baseball, but I've been watching football ever since I was like probably like 8 years old or 7 years old. I remember watching Packers Super Bowls, Cowboys Super Bowls, all types of stuff. But like say like during the Raiders Buccaneers era or versus during that Super Bowl or when Brady like had I think Brady's second or third year in the league is when I started started paying like close attention, and then I fell in love with the Chargers around like 2003 or 2004 because of just Drew Brees, LaDainian Tomlinson, Schottenheimer, and they just had everything going on, and they were just so much fun to watch. So, I've been watching football, I've been addicted ever since, and because of fantasy, now it's just like it's overboard. Like I started playing fantasy in like 2009. And I was a newbie, I didn't know much. I was probably drafting a quarterback in the first or second round and stuff like that. I had learned a lot, and it's just so fun and addicting, and to compete with your friends like that, it's amazing,
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And you answered my next question about the Chargers. That's cool. Yep, they were a different team back then with LT, that's for sure. And Drew Brees, man, that was a serious squad. So I assume you're still a Chargers fan. What are your thoughts going forward? Like things are going to look a little different this year, right?
Yeah, I wanted them to draft Isaiah Simmons. I'm not huge on Justin Herbert at all. I thought Isaiah, just everything you heard about him in college, how he just was able to do so many things on the field and plays he was so versatile, and we have such a problem at our linebacker core. I just thought that he was going to just come in and just. It was almost like a sure thing, And then Justin Herbert, I've watched his games. It's like nothing like something to be excited about. And I wanted them to sign Cam Newton or Jameis Winston for very cheap, and then figure things out after that. But I've never the past few years. I don't agree with the way the front office of the Chargers get down. I mean, just look what happened with Melvin Gordon, Vincent Jackson. I mean, it goes on and on. Remember how LaDainian Tomlinson felt so disrespected when he had to leave and go to the Jets. It's very continuous, And then, especially now with I think Joey Bosa got crazy money just recently, right?
Yeah,
and they could have dispersed some of that in different ways. Maybe give Melvin some money, Now he's on the Broncos, and that's a spite move, why would he go to the Broncos? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So that there's just it's complicated, and there's a lot of tension in the front office. So I have no idea what to expect. I kind of thought that Tyrod was only going to play a few games, and then Justin Herbert was going to come in and play 10 games and start 10 games. But now I'm hearing different things, because of everything that's going on with the pandemic. That who knows how many games he's going to play and stuff. And I'm worried, man. I don't expect a successful season. I just hope that we win at least 6 games or something like that. Get kind of close to 500, a record of 500, but just the division.
Kind of like being a Lions fan.
I was just going to say, welcome to the annual Detroit Lions expectations.
You got to look at it. I mean, Kansas City is the best team in the league.
Yeah.
The Raiders, they got everybody now. You know what I'm saying? Lynn Bowden, freaking Henry Ruggs. They got Waller. They got Edwards. It just goes on, and the Broncos, I think they look excellent on paper, and just how can the Chargers compete with all that? That's 6 games against some pretty incredible teams.
That's true, man. So when you were growing up, you're from California. What made you decide on the Chargers instead of the Niners or Raiders or something like that?
I honestly I have no idea. It's just watching Monday night games and Sunday games with my friends and stuff. And I think it was LaDainian Tomlinson. It's just the stuff that he was doing, man. It was, you never saw anything like that before. It was like Emmitt Smith out there and stuff, and Vincent Jackson and Drew Brees. And I love the philosophy. Marty Shaw, they were just winning. That's all it was. It was just success. It was over 10 games, 10 wins per season and stuff. And they just kick butt. All my friends are Raiders fans, so I clash with them all the time and everything. It's pretty gnarly, but I don't know. I just I like the color. I like the way they get down. I like how they control both sides, offense, and they had a crazy defense back then and stuff, you know. But I just fell in love with it. Like I have a best friend, and we were kind of like getting back into football at the same time. So we were just sitting down, we were just talking about the Chargers, and we're like, man, this is a kick-ass team. Let's just stick with it, and that's what we did, you know.
Yeah, Junior Seau back then too, man. Like Jesus,
it was so amazing.
Two Chargers notes here. Number one, their powder blue jerseys are the best jerseys in the league.
Oh yeah.
That should just be their standard. Number two, LaDainian Tomlinson played against the Lions and dedicated the game, or played the game, in honor of his favorite running back growing up, Barry Sanders. And then he went off. It was against Detroit, and then he went off for I think 5 touchdowns. What a dick slap to Lions fans! Like,
I remember
our favorite player that left us and then just destroy us.
There were games routinely where he would run for a touchdown, catch a touchdown, and throw a touchdown.
Wow. Yeah, I remember
routinely.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking at his career stats, his game log. So ever since his rookie season, from 2001 to 2008, over 1,000 rushing yards every single season. From 2001 to 2008, double-digit rushing touchdowns every single season. He was so it was just so much fun to watch, and I love the way he got down. And when he scored a touchdown, he didn't really go do no crazy celebrations. He just went like this, you know what I'm saying, and just went back to work. It's just the way that he handled himself. It was amazing. And I'm looking at, I think he had a 100 reception season, you know, in 2003.
I think he was the first one. I think he was the first running back to do it.
Exactly, you know, and it's like he almost paved the way for other people like Matt Forte, you know, and other running backs, because that was the new thing. They just wanted pass catching running backs who were just both versatile, and he was just so much fun to watch. I wish he never went to the Jets, because I think the Jets knocked out the Chargers twice in the playoffs afterwards. You know, it was like 2009 or 2010 or something like that. You know, we were just having bad beats against the Jets. And I did not like Rex Ryan. I was not a Rex Ryan fan. Yeah, it was just all bad when he left. I was just like, gosh darn it, you know.
I hear you, man. I hear you. So on the fantasy side of things, like, you are fair. If everyone listens to all the shows, they've heard me talk about all the shenanigans fantasy stuff that you and me get into, between the free agent frenzy league and now the IDP best balls and just all this crazy shit we're always getting into. When did you go from just normal fantasy redraft DST to like diving in headfirst into this crazy stuff that we do now?
Dude, it's nuts, man. Because at first I was in just like one league or maybe 2 leagues, and like say the first league, there was no waiver wire process. Like say on Sundays, if someone was balling out, you could pick them up on Sunday, like while the games were going and stuff. And I was just like, that's just not fair. Like, what if someone's not like near TV? What if someone doesn't pay attention? And then the commissioner, you know, he's one of my best friends and stuff. He was just picking up all these stud players on Sunday, and I was just like, okay, something's got to change a little bit, you know. And then in another league with a group of my best friends, it was standard. It was no PPR for years. And I had, for years, I was pushing them to do PPR, and they were just like, no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And me, I'm all about change and trying new and different things, you know. So then I met some more friends and stuff about 2012, and then my friend LT, yeah, I joined his league in I think 2012 or 2013, and he had all these bonus points. He had say you know, if you had a 40-yard touchdown catch, you got an extra 5 points. You know, he had IDP and stuff like that. Who was that really gnarly Paul Posluszny on the
Posluszny, yeah.
My first IDP, I had him, and I was just like, dude, this is insane. You know what I'm saying? This is like a tackle machine. And when you watch the games, you actually see it happen, you know?
Right.
I think we were starting he wasn't starting no defensive linemen. It was just 2 defensive backs and then 2 linebackers. And then I started pushing for IDP and bonus points and PPR to everyone else. And they were just like, nah, man, you know, we might do half-point PPR or something like that, you know? But then I was just like, man, I got to find new ways to keep myself entertained and stuff like that. And then I was on Twitter a lot, and I just met a lot of people. When I came across you too, you were heavy into IDP. I mean, you start safeties, cornerbacks. I mean, freaking everything, like defensive tackles, defensive ends. I was just like, all right, like this is a way to get really in depth. And and then people who I put on fantasy football, like say my barber, I put him on fantasy football about 3 years ago. He loves it. He won one of my leagues last year, and he was just like, bro, like ever since you put me on this fantasy stuff, like it's a whole different ball game. Like I actually like see things differently. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He thanks me all the time. I'm like, he's like, bro, like you could be a fan of football, but I mean, normal football fans, they probably don't even know who Terry McLaurin is. You know what I'm saying? They probably don't even know. They barely know who Devin Singletary is. And so we go so deep that it's like we're so ahead of the curve, and it's just a beautiful feeling to it's like stocks. You know what I'm saying? To predict things, to see things. Like it's so much fun.
Yeah, man.
So I definitely want to hear a little more of the free agent frenzy, and I'm sure our listeners want to know, like, what's the setup, how did it go, and where did you think of it?
So we change it a little bit every single year. But first, have you been in there 1 or 2 years, Johnny?
This will be my second this year.
Cool. And see, Johnny, he had this whole entire strategy, this plan on how to draft, and it worked. You know what I'm saying? Like he I don't think he lost until like week 9 or 10. I can't even remember. You were kicking so much ass, and you ended up winning 3rd place. And to get 3rd place in that league, that's actually an accomplishment. So basically, it was just I have arguments with my friends, about like roster depth. You know what I'm saying? I like deep benches. A lot of my friends only like 5 bench spots, 6 bench spots. I'm like, dude, like sometimes I want to have more options and stuff, and then we would always go back and forth. And I was like, you know what? How about we do it one time where we just do like no bench players, or maybe 1 bench player, and let's see who's really about it and stuff like that. So then I was just like, it was just something I just randomly thought up. And I made an 18-team league. I think this is like the first year was, I think, 2018. It might have been 2017. And I was just like, all right, so here's the deal. We're going to have a draft. There's not going to be there might be 1 bench spot and 1 or 2 IR spots. And what inspired me, I think it was best ball that inspired me, because you're basically drafting who you think is going to be most consistent, most successful throughout the whole entire season, and where you're going to see like very little voids or little holes that you have to fill in. Like Johnny, I think you drafted a bunch of people who didn't have a bye week until week 10, 11, and 12, right? And you were like, I just want to just draft some studs who don't have to deal with buys, and then when the buys come, I'll take that 1 loss. But I know
I set it up so it was all week 9. All week 9. I just ate week 9, and that's it. That's all I had to deal with.
And it worked, dude. It was so crazy because I was like, damn, he's gonna have to take that 1 loss, and sacrificing a loss can mean a lot, in that league. But you were just winning the whole time, and I was just like, all right, that's awesome. And we try to switch it up all the time, like say, the past couple of years, I think we had a super flex. It was super flex, so like the quarterbacks were flying off the board, and then I'm a late quarterback guy, so I think in 2019 I drafted Patrick or something like that. Yeah, and when he was on the Bucks, right, and he was just going crazy the first 2 or 3 weeks when he was throwing like over 400 yards, right? Yeah. And I just got so lucky with that. And then last year I drafted Casey Keenum with one of my last picks, and I got lucky with that and was able to come across Gardner Minshew in the 2nd week, and that filled in my voids and stuff, But it's a lot of fun because in that league, dude, like you have to make some serious decisions. Like in 2018, there was a week where I dropped like Keenan Allen because he wasn't playing. I had to drop Zach Ertz. I had to drop some serious players and stuff, and they got scooped up right away. And now there's nothing I could do, but I had to get that win, So it's very thrilling. It's a lot of fun, and I highly suggest more people do it because it makes you think a lot more and into like before the season even starts. Who's going to be the highest scoring players? Who's going to get the most touches? Who's going to be most consistent? And it really opens up our eyes when we play that.
Yeah, man. I love to get weird. Because when you're right, whenever you do get, in life and in fantasy football, it's true. But you know that by now. Anyway, but it does make you think about things. It does make you strategize. It does make you look at all the bye weeks. It does make you draft differently, look at things differently. And that's awesome. I love that. Another thing you've been doing that I've talked about on the show is the IDP best balls. I don't think those exist anywhere on this planet except where you've created them out of thin air in the Sleeper app. A, can you tell me how much work you think you're going to have to do that every week? And B, just talk about your strategy a little bit with that.
Okay, so we've done a total of 20 best balls, and they're all on the Sleeper, you know what I'm saying? So we do a slow draft, and it's about 40 to 50 rounds. And what it is that, the highest scoring players are going to be your starters. So I think that Mondays are going to be quite busy for me, or Tuesdays, so where I'm just plugging in the starters and stuff like that. But all I really got to do is just scroll down, find your highest scoring players, and then slot it in. And I do a lot of stuff on Google spreadsheets. So I don't know if you guys can see this. I have all my teams right here, and they're all color coded. See, the red is quarterbacks, the green is like running backs, the blue is wide receivers. You know what I'm saying? And I did it for all the drafts. You know what I'm saying? So these are all the drafts right here. It's gonna help me organize and do everything. So as long as you prepare ahead of time, I think you'll be just fine. Plus, with the help of everyone else, like you guys are gonna know who's going off on your teams. We're all paying attention to each other, so you're gonna be like, boom, like this dude went off. I'm gonna see it. And we'll plug it in right away. And it's amazing too, because I think when we had tried to start doing the best balls, there were like no platforms at the moment, right?
Yahoo was doing some and they sucked because they were like instant. There's no slow draft, and FanDuel and Best and DK hadn't fired it up yet, but DK just fired theirs up last week. Like, yeah.
I think MFL you can do best ball, can't you?
Yeah, I haven't even jumped on that yet. And when I was listening to one of you guys' episodes recently, and then someone had mentioned that, so I have to look into that. But Sleeper was like the one platform I was already familiar with that I knew to do slow draft. And then like sometimes when you try to get your friends to join a new platform, they're not about it. Like ESPN, I don't like ESPN. I refuse to be on in any ESPN leagues because it's a headache, And we tried Fantrax last year, and a lot of my friends weren't too crazy about Fantrax. I like it because they provide so many different things, but a lot of my friends weren't down for it. Sleeper is just so easy, simple. I mean, visually, like easy. It's like the users they love being on Sleeper. They provide a lot of different things. So I figured out I could do a slow draft, and then they let us do as many rounds as possible. So we just did 40 to 50 rounds, and then we just started knocking them out. And it's been somewhat, it's addicting. You know what I'm saying, Johnny? I don't even know how many best balls you're in, but you just keep doing them, like for $1, $2, $3 each too.
You don't want the answer to that.
Yeah, I don't say no to anything. That's basically my secret.
I want to be in like 100 best ball leagues. I was like, damn, I'll try the best I could do,
That's awesome.
Sean's our resident director for Sleeper. He contacts them and gets them to make all the changes that we want. So he could probably put it in a word for best ball.
Yeah, I got ideas. We do, especially the IDP, man. Like we're going in depth with IDP. Like there's players that we're drafting that that aren't even on the radar. Like when I even asked you a month or two ago, I was like, do you have any sleepers for me? And then you told me about Willie Gay, and I didn't. He wasn't on my radar, Like now I'm just like,
dude.
I took that from Sean.
That's my guy. We had a really good moment in one of our 53-man roster leagues where Joey the Tooth from our website was just going off about how stupid I was because we had been doing these drafts before the NFL drafts, and so I was like, I can't believe you guys are letting me get Willie Gay in literally every single league so far. And Joey just went on this rant about how he'd much rather take more established players like Ryan Connolly or something like that. And So then the draft happens, and naturally Willie Gay becomes his number one linebacker, and he had to come back and apologize to me about that one. But I'll never let him hear the end of it. Oh, it was Bobby Okereke is who he was.
Oh,
is
gross.
Who he was talking about. But yeah. So
okay, so I got a quick question. Okay, so do you think that Willie Gay will be more productive than Anthony Hitchens? Do you think Willie Gay will be a starter right off the bat? I'm a little bit curious.
I'm not projecting a single rookie this year to be a starter right off the bat.
Oh, wow.
Outside of maybe like, I don't know, Joe Burrow, a couple of the running backs. But I think for the most part, you're going to see a lot of guys splitting time early. You obviously can't do that with quarterbacks, but you're going to see a lot of splitting time because as they just get acclimated to everything, just because of the short camps and the lack of preseason and all that stuff.
Also, safeties score more points than cornerbacks, right?
Depending on the scoring, yeah. So the way that all the leagues I've been running this year, cornerbacks score pretty comparably. Like Carlton Davis is one of my big cornerback guys, and he outscored a good number of safeties when he was playing last year. But there's a lot of cornerbacks that do score well if you jack up the points on pass deflections and you devalue tackles a little bit.
Right.
I made my deflected passes at 0.75 points, 0.75 per deflected pass. So I think that's kind of good, But what I've noticed too is that when we're doing the best balls, for example, nobody's drafting Jeff Okudah, and this guy was like a top 5 draft pick, So I was wondering, why is he not getting drafted? Is it because he's a rookie who's not going to get many plays? Is it because he's a cornerback and safeties score more points?
So at 0.75 points, you're going to definitely be valuing tackles far more than actual coverage skills.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to favor safeties. So typically when I set up the pass deflections, I try and set them up somewhere between 3 and 5 points.
Oh, wow.
Because they're only getting, 1 to 3 of them a game usually.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you have 3 pass deflections in a game, that's a solid game.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a cornerback, that should be scoring, around 10 points. So that's at least that's how I set it up. But everyone's got their own different scoring systems and their own preferences.
Yeah. My scoring format is low because my participants in my league, I don't think that they're too comfortable with high IDP scoring just yet. I'm trying to ease that in.
Right. It's consistency too. That's why, because we're only doing a couple safety spots in those IDP best balls. So it's I'd rather just be sure that I've got some consistent points. But then I also grab a guy like, Kevin Byard or Minkah Fitzpatrick or something to get those occasional massive games, So yeah, it's been fun though. It's been fun. You wanted to talk about some mid-round value guys. Who have you been grabbing with that lately? Because we've been in a million drafts. So, I mean, who are some guys you've been targeting there?
Well, see, things are kind of changing too because we started doing these best ball drafts literally a week after the actual NFL draft. So we've been doing these best ball drafts for about 2, 3, 4 months almost, and it's really helped kill time. But we're seeing things change drastically, dude, I was getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire in the 6th or 7th round. It was pretty crazy. I'm looking at some of my my drafts, but the first 3 drafts I have him in 5 best ball leagues. So I was really getting him and Terry McLaurin for super cheap, and now it's not even possible. So things are kind of changing. But I mean, if we're talking about what position in particular to start off with?
Oh, I don't know, man. Whatever you want to talk about.
Okay, so let's go with wide receivers first.
Okay.
One of them that I'm really I can't stop drafting lately is Michael Gallup. I think he's just so amazing. You watch him, he's so consistent. He's very clutch for Prescott. I mean, if you look at his games and his production, it was very similar to Amari Cooper's, maybe even better. Last year, 14 games he played, 113 targets, 66 receptions, 1,107 yards, and 6 touchdowns. and it's very close to Amari Cooper's numbers.
Right.
He's just going so low. You could get him in the 7th or 8th round, and that doesn't make any sense to me. He's a stud. He's so freaking good. Terry McLaurin, what's up?
Does it worry you at all that CeeDee Lamb is now there? So you have Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, and Gallup.
Big time.
Plus, obviously, you're still going to feed Zeke too.
Yeah, I just believe in Gallup's talent, and Cooper. I mean, like he's quite inconsistent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
injuries. Sometimes he'll get the best defender covering him, and it's just going to make people like CeeDee and Michael Gallup just wide open. I think that with an extra weapon, it's going to help a lot. I mean, even with Randall Cobb last year, I think Randall Cobb got a lot of targets and almost like 800, 900 receiving yards, and everyone was still pretty productive, CeeDee is also a rookie, like how you said, so we don't know if he's going to have a high snap count in the first few games. We don't know if he's even going to be a starter or whatnot and stuff. But, I mean, Michael Gallup knows the playbook. He's been with Dak, already for 2 years, and he's a stud, man. I love watching that guy play, and I just think that he only played 14 games last year. If he had played the full 16, I mean, people would be raving about this guy. I mean, he had 1,100 yards last year. He would have had easily 1,200 yards, and a few more receptions. So I just think that he's like one of the easiest mid-round picks for me, and he's going like in the 6th, 7th, or 8th rounds and stuff, depending on your league and stuff.
Nice. How about running back? Who are you taking? Value pick running back mid rounds.
I'm still trying to figure that out. Right now, I'm still very high on Devin Singletary. I know a lot of people don't like him and everything, but I think he has a lot of potential. And he sometimes when you're doing drafts, he goes in so many different places. Like if you do a regular mock draft, he's going in like the 4th, 5th round. But and different drafts, he can go in the 6th or 7th round. And I just think that, like, okay, the Bills' offensive line is above average. Singletary played only 12 games last year, but he had 775 rushing yards and 194 receiving yards. And I just think that will increase for sure. That's almost that's almost 1,000 scrimmage yards, and that was only in 12 games. You know what I'm saying? So like, if he played a full 16, he could have had probably 1,200, 1,300 yards. And I think that he's going to be a very key part of that team, and people are just like overlooking him because they just think that Zach Moss is going to just take over. And I don't understand it. And a lot of people are always bring up the Frank Gore stuff, and Frank Gore didn't do much during the second half of the season. If I could somehow look up the stats real quick.
No, he didn't. I just remember he didn't.
Terrible, and everyone's like, oh, he got the goal line carries and stuff like that, but it was literally Singletary who was running for 20, 30 yards or catching a crazy reception, and he got tackled inside the 5-yard line, so it's like, give him a breather or something, or switch up the offense so that it'll be unpredictable. So like the next play, they would have Josh Allen easily run it in, or Frank Gore do his thing. So, but I don't think that they're just gonna go away from Singletary just like that. I mean, he was a touchdown scoring machine, I think, in college. He was very excellent. But I'm trying to look at Frank Gore's second half stats second half of the season stats. So the second half of the season from games 9 through 16, Frank Gore averaged 2.7 yards per carry.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was bad. He had 60 rushing attempts for 162 yards.
Oh my God.
Second half, you're talking about 8 games, you know what I'm saying? So like, and people don't realize, they're like, oh, well, Frank Gore was taking into Singletary's production. I was like, bro, Singletary was hurt. You know what I'm saying? And like, Frank Gore didn't even he had 0 rushing touchdowns in the last 8 games. Like 60 rushing attempts for 160, that's not a threat to me. And Zach Moss, like, he's a rookie. We don't know what the snap count's going to be just yet. We don't know if he's going to be a starter. But I'm super high on Singletary. And if I could somehow find a way to get him in the 6th round, I'm going to go ahead and do it. he's one of my targets for 0 RB for sure. But I don't know. I think that his ADP might rise eventually. But hopefully he stays where he's at.
Nice. So let me. Oh, what you got? Something, Sean?
Yeah, I was just gonna say his ADP might stay where it's at because this is typically the time of year that you start getting coach speak about all of your rookies, where the coaches are all gonna say how impressed they are by every single rookie that they drafted, and so at some point Zach Moss will probably get that treatment, and Singletary probably won't go much higher than he is now.
And Zach Moss has a history of like injuries. I think he got hurt once or twice in the past couple of years. So I mean, and they say, oh well, Devin Singletary got hurt. I mean, everyone can get injured and stuff, but I mean, Singletary already knows the playbook very well, and he averaged 5.1 yards per carry last year. So I don't see them just walking away from him just like that. He can catch the ball, he can run very well, he finds holes well, and I'm looking up some of his college stats right now. 1 second, please.
I love how prepared you are. None of our other interviews have ever done anything like that.
Oh yeah, man, I get nervous, dude. I don't want to mess up your guys' stuff, But, yeah, so like Singletary. Okay, so 3 years in college, he had 152 attempts, 300 attempts, 261 attempts, over 1,000 yards each season, 1,021 yards, 1,918 yards, 1,348 yards. That's just insane. He had 66 rushing touchdowns in college.
He played for Florida Atlantic, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
You look at it, 12 rushing touchdowns the first season, 32 rushing touchdowns the second season, 22 rushing touchdowns the third season. It's like that stuff it doesn't just disappear, And he almost cracked 1,000 scrimmage yards in 12 games last year as a rookie. I think that he's still a very talented running back who could really hold it down for the Bills, and they're going to feed him the ball. I'm not sure how much, but he can produce what he's an efficient running back. He doesn't need a ton of carries. All he needs is just an opportunity.
Definitely. So let's circle back around to some IDP here. I want to get. We've been doing this with all our interviews recently. We're going to get your ones before the season starts, so we can get you on record here.
Okay.
So all right. For each position, IDP, we're going to go balls to the wall, all of them. So we'll start at linebacker, inside linebacker, tackling linebackers, not the Shaq Barretts of the world, the Bobby Wagners of the world. Who are you taking at linebacker 1?
Okay, see, I don't know who are the middle linebackers or not. I'm sorry. Is Roquan Smith the middle linebacker?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm really high on Roquan. I mean, like he's a tier of he's a linebacker 1. He's in the top 12 to get drafted, but he's not like in the top 5. And a lot of people are kind of iffy on him because of what happened last year. I think he almost like left the team or something. There was some weird stuff going on. I can't remember, but he's just so talented. And when you look at some of his performances, he's very successful, very consistent. A couple other, but I think I'm going to go for Roquan for the most part. I'm a little bit worried about Blake Martinez. It is a new team,
right?
So I'm just not sure about that. Bobby Wagner, consistent as heck, but there's got to be like maybe that 1 year where he just falls off or gets hurt. You know what I'm saying? Because players get hurt. I'm sorry, I know people aren't supposed to bring this up, but players do get hurt, and sometimes you have to predict. Maybe that might be that 1 year where they're gonna miss some games and stuff, So it's kind of like a guessing game thing. Corey Littleton, he's on a new team as well. Joe Schobert's on a new team, so it's I mean, these are all really good guys, but Roquan, we know this guy's a boss. He's a stud, and I think I'm gonna go for him. Darius Leonard, you gotta drop Darius Leonard so high. It's
right.
That's
the problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
I just saw him go in the first round of a startup I'm in with these supposed experts. I'm not even kidding. A combined offense, defense, super flex where people are taking like Mahomes, CMC, Barkley, the normal startup players. Darius Leonard went in the first round.
And I remember that happened last year too in a league that you were in, and that really ticked you off. You're like, I just don't understand that. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, he's good, But I
Not
mean,
that good. Yeah.
it's very risky to go ahead and do that.
Yeah, crazy. How about rush linebackers like the Chandler Jones, Shaq Barrett's, T.J. Watts of the world?
I like T.J. Watt. He's such a playmaker. I mean, you just see some of his stuff that he does. Like, I think I was watching the Seahawks versus Steelers game just last, because I have NFL Game Pass, so I love rewatching games. I mean, this dude just does so many things. I mean, there's this one play where Chris Carson had got the ball and T.J. Watt just bound away around, and he punched the ball out of Chris Carson's arms. And I think I can't remember. Maybe it was a play where Devin Bush recovered, and then he almost ran it back in for a touchdown or something like that. But T.J. Watt, I think he's a really, really good player who's still on a great defense. I don't think that his consistent floor is as high, because sometimes you see his stuff going like that. But I'm a big T.J. Watt fan. Like I said, I still don't know the difference, like the back of my hand, who are the middle linebackers and the outsides. But I T.J. Watt is someone I'm very high on for sure.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. That's a solid answer. How about safety? Who are you taking at safety one this year?
I would love to get Derwin James, but he's just another guy who's going way too high. So I don't know. Sometimes I think I learned from you guys that when it comes to defensive backs, you can kind of wait on it or something. You're not supposed to go like too heavy on them. But I love Taylor Rapp. I don't know why. I really like Taylor Rapp. He did really good towards the second half of the season, towards the end of the season. He's going like under the radar. He's going as a tier 3 linebacker probably, but he's still in the top 10 or 12. I was trying to go for like John Johnson or Tracy Walker, but I mean Taylor Rapp, you could get him at a pretty good value. And the Rams, they're always involved in shootouts, and if they're involved in shootouts, people are going to be passing the ball. And I think that he can make a super, super boost in his second year, because he was a rookie last year, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I kind of like, I'm kind of high on Tracy Walker as well, but I don't know much about him. I think you know a lot more about Tracy Walker than I do, so you could fill us in, Sean. But
Sean does.
No, I actually prefer Taylor Rapp to Tracy Walker, and that's blasphemy. But I definitely prefer him, and I prefer him so much at the price, because Tracy Walker is now going as like safety 3, safety 4 sometimes, and that to me is outrageous. At least in dynasty drafts, which is all I play. For the price, I definitely want Taylor Rapp over Tracy Walker.
It's such a great value, I mean,
it is.
Keanu Neal, I'm a little bit high on him, but I mean, come on, the injury history has me really worried. Harrison Smith is getting a bit older. Jordan Poyer, he had a great season last year, but I mean, can we expect that to happen again? I don't know his history of IDP, but I'd never seen him as like a stud. Has he been a stud year in and year out?
He's good, not great. He's good.
Okay. Yeah, he's in the top 10. So I'm just like, some of these guys I'm a bit iffy on, So I'm trying to go for some people who are on like okay defenses, but like they're gonna be on the field a lot because of shootouts, or they might have a weak offense and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm targeting Taylor Rapp. I might be targeting some of those Cincinnati guys too, because dude, they went crazy. Like IDP is different, because sometimes it's not the stud, the superstars who get the most points. Sometimes it's the guys who just get attacked and targeted all the time. Like they just get picked on by the offenses. And I think that Cincinnati's secondary, I can't remember, but like they still need some improving. And Sean Williams and Jesse Bates, they both did well last year, and they might be involved in quite a bit of shootouts as well.
Alrighty.
I'm a big Jesse Bates fan.
Nice.
Same. How about defensive end? Who you taking DE1? You a Garrett guy? You a Hunter guy? Who you going with?
What's the situation on Myles Garrett right now?
Oh, he's fine. He's good to go.
He's cleared.
Yeah, he's cleared. Yeah.
Oh, okay. This is where I've been having trouble with, because you look at it, Buckner's on a new team.
Right.
Jones had that contract dispute going on. Nick Bosa's going super high. J.J. Watt is, of course, a stud. But I'm because of you guys. This might be because of you guys too. I'm very high on Sam Hubbard. You know, he's another guy who's going he's like a defensive end in the top 15, but he's like not in the top 5, but he's like around like 10, 11, 12, 13, and he had some pretty big games, you know, last year. I just think that he'll do pretty good. Melvin Ingram had a bad year last year, from what I heard. He wasn't successful at all. DeForest Buckner is he's on a new team, you know, so I'm not. He's a defensive tackle. What am I talking about? I think that Sam Hubbard is someone I'm really targeting. And if not, I'm gonna probably target Cameron Hayward because he has such a high floor and he's very successful. I don't know how many years he's been in the league and if he's gonna hit that decline or whatnot. I have to do some more research on that.
Yeah, no, I think Hubbard's a good call because the price is good on him right now too. Like he's not super expensive, so that's a good thing always. How about defensive tackle? Who you got there? You a Donald guy?
Well, of course, you know Donald is you know? Well, like I said, when if you ask me, like, sometimes I won't say the top 5 players who are in the tier 1 players because it's almost like automatic, or they're just going too high, or if they happen to get hurt, it's like, oh my gosh, it's a freaking nightmare. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
you're giving us your value picks.
Yeah, well, kind of, sort of, but in like the top 10, top 15, you know. But I was going pretty high on DeForest Buckner, you know, because I think that he's really, really good. But he's ranked right now the DT2, I believe.
There's a good chance.
Yeah. He's somewhere in the top 3, depending who you ask. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going. I'm aiming like on Buckner. I was aiming Chris Jones until like all the whole contract dispute. Now I have no idea what's going to happen. And if you want to talk about Super Bowl MVP, Chris Jones could have been the Super Bowl MVP.
Yes, those 2 batted passes were massive.
He was triple teamed, dude. He was triple teamed, and he just took that thing down. And I was just like, man, like, and that's why I understand his contract dispute, because if it wasn't for that, the Chiefs probably wouldn't have won the Super Bowl. You know,
he did get a new contract.
He did, and he earned the money. He earned it. Yep. And how about corner? I don't know if you play in a lot of leagues with corner, but who are you taking at cornerback if you got to take a corner?
Yeah, see, I don't know much about corners. That's why I kind of asked about like Jeffrey Okudah and stuff. When you look at rankings, I mean, you look at the rankings, it's seriously nothing but safeties when you look at defensive back rankings. But I might try Tre'Davious White. You know?
That is a great answer.
Yeah,
that is a great answer.
He seems like someone it's a great pick, great value. He's on a great team defensive wise, and I just think he's going to have a lot of opportunities to go ahead and put up some points for IDP.
Definitely. All right, man. So we'll get you out of here on this. We ask everyone, give us your stupid early predictions for the season. Who do you think gets to the Super Bowl? Who do you think wins? How's the season go?
Shoot. That's the thing. Like we have no idea because this is such a
weird season.
Yeah, it's a weird season, you know. So
this is going to be the year the Lions win the Super Bowl, and there's just going to be a giant next to it. And I'm just going to quit football. I'm going to quit this podcast. I'm going to sell my TV and never watch football again.
You won't be able to play video games.
That's a good point.
I would probably have to say like, oh man, it looks difficult. But I mean, if you're gonna look at who's pretty solid on both sides, do you want me to be daring or do you want me to be safe on my prediction?
Whatever you
think, as daring as you like.
Yep.
Okay. Let's say the Cowboys versus. Well, then we'll go safe versus the Chiefs. Cowboys versus Chiefs. Yeah, because I mean, you gotta look at they got a strong offense. The Cowboys. They got Zeke. Tony Pollard's gonna make that bounce. Maybe that. 3 incredible wide receivers. Amari Cooper, Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Dak, who's just a slinger, you know. And then on the other side, they got some playmakers. They got Lawrence. They got Smith. They have Vander Esch is going to make that bounce back because I think he had injuries last year.
Yeah, neck injury. Yep.
They have a lot of talent all around to where I think that and the division that they're in, I mean, it's not that great, like the Redskins. The Eagles are a bit of a question mark, and the Giants I think are going to do really good, but I just think that the Cowboys are overall well-rounded more than them. And the Chiefs, of course, I'm going to go with the Chiefs. But if it wasn't for the Chiefs, I would probably have to say like maybe the Colts. Because the Colts, they got so many solid pieces. And when I think about making it far into the playoffs or into the season or in the Super Bowl, you win in the trenches. You have to have a strong offensive line. You have to have a strong defensive line. And what they got some stuff over there in Indianapolis. They got who's that crazy offensive lineman that they have?
Quentin Nelson.
Huh?
Quentin Nelson.
Yes, and he's amazing. They got Jonathan Taylor now too. Phillip Rivers, who's of course an upgrade at quarterback. And DeForest Buckner, I think he's like a serious playmaker. He does a lot, and Darius Leonard. So I just think that they have a chance to go far, especially because of that division that they're in. Who's in their division? The Texans, Jaguars, Titans?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a toss up, I feel like. I mean, it's not going to be Jacksonville, but any of those other three teams I think could win.
I just think that they have such a strong run game to where they don't have to really even rely on their passing game.
Right.
And they could easily win a good chunk of divisional games to where, they could slide into the playoffs, maybe luckily win one or two games, and then who knows, they could probably make it to the Super Bowl because I just think that they do have a lot of potential, and Jonathan Taylor is amazing, so I would like to see what happens with them.
Quentin Nelson, when he pancake blocks the defender,
it's sick, dude.
he teabags them as he gets up. He literally, that's his thing.
Whoa.
He drags his nuts across his face when he gets up after pancake blocking him. It's like it's just the most bizarre, hilarious thing that I've seen. If you look up, like, there's compilations made on YouTube of it. It's hilarious.
I would get so mad if oh man, that's so disrespectful,
It is.
He brings the energy for sure. I love that stuff, dude.
Awesome. Well, Lamont, thank you, my friend, for coming on. I definitely appreciate it. And it was nice to get to talk to you in person. This is the first of many. Our friendship is just growing. Mm-hmm. So make sure you all follow him. He's at LAM0NT87 on Twitter. Lamont, thank you, sir.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys too. And when you guys want to talk more about the whole Twitch thing, we could probably make some stuff really happen, especially on the Saturdays. Like it's like the weekend is a dead zone. We don't get any podcasts. We're just waiting till Sunday to happen. So I'm Twitch marathon every Saturday. That would be a very, very cool idea if you guys are ever interested.
Dynasty Football Digest, your new essential site for Dynasty information. For as little as $1 a month, gain access to all that we have to offer. Rankings, trends, ADP, in-season assets, and a Slack chat just for subscribers. Purchase today at dynastyfootballdigest.com.
Check the rankings.
All right, with that, let's jump into our steak and salad. Jonny, you want to start that one off?
Absolutely. I had a great week last week. So we were playing Dungeons and Dragons on Friday night. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Sure.
We were making good progress. And in the entire time that was happening, my free $10 that FanDuel threw in my account for the NBA restart was on the line. And I know, sorry, Nate, jack shit about the NBA, right? I know nothing about it. So I just randomly picked 3 contests, threw a bunch of guys in, made sure I had James Harden everywhere, and just let it fly. And $96 later, thank you, FanDuel. I will take it. So that's my stake for the week.
Interesting that your stake is NBA because my stake is also NBA.
Ooh.
it's a two-part stake. So 2K20 was free on PlayStation this past month, so I picked it up. And I'm now an NBA super fan, and I will be quitting writing about fantasy football, and I will be writing about random basketball thoughts for the foreseeable future here. I'm a big Ja Morant fan. I'm a big Zion guy. Obviously, everybody's a Zion guy.
Oh, yeah.
I got a list. I really liked Michael Porter until I found out he was a pandemic guy. So Jaren Jackson, though, out of Michigan State, he's great. I got all my dudes now, and bubble basketball has been phenomenal. Like,
it's been fun.
We took a league and we eliminated all of the crappy teams, and then just said, "Hey, let's have playoff quality basketball forever," and it's great. I mean, I think they should just do this and just every year just eliminate teams very quickly. Like after the first week, the worst team is just out. Get rid of them. We don't want to watch you play basketball anymore. See ya.
Just like a guillotine league.
Yeah, big guillotine NBA league. I'm into it because this has been a ton of fun. Having baseball back's been great. Twins are doing awesome. I love it. Like, as much as I think sports being back is basketball has been fine. Baseball is probably going to get canceled. Football will probably get canceled at some point, but I enjoy the hell out of it, obviously.
Yep.
So yeah, big NBA guy now. That's me.
Nice.
Ja Morant super fan.
Well, my stake. So I just got back from traveling, and on my travels, I drank a lot, ate a lot of bad food, crappy fast food and stuff. So me and the fiance are giving up a few things for right now until Labor Day. This kind of spurred because of all of the excessive drinking and eating, and also because there was a small movement on fantasy Twitter where a pool was created. A bunch of people threw in to lose some weight. So I jumped into that, and I gave up booze for the month. Fast food, anything with a drive-through.
What are you drinking?
Water and nerves. Junk food, candy, all that stuff. We've been going to the gym for every day for a few months now, so just looking forward to getting healthier.
Good for you, man. You don't need it, man. You don't need the booze. I watch it ruin lives every week. You don't need it. You too, Sean. You really don't need it.
I'm good. How am I going to keep my weight up if I'm not drinking?
That's a good point. You are.
You just wither away. What's the Family Guy skit where some actress is super skinny and she goes on
away in the wind? Yeah.
Well, I think she was in an attic and there were slats, wood slats, and she just slipped through.
I don't know.
That's Sean.
I don't watch. Yeah, that's me basically. Yeah, I think if I cut beer out of my diet, I'd just die. I
mean,
I don't know.
Could happen.
All right, Johnny, do your salad. I haven't thought of one. Life's been good lately.
Wow, that's great. No, I mean it's obvious. It's college season again. Same salad last few weeks now. Things ain't looking good. Not looking good. Yeah.
Nate, give your salad. I'm still thinking here.
So my salad is that it's looking pretty rough out there, and I've got a wedding coming up at the end of October, and kind of rough, planning a wedding with all this stuff going on, and hoping that certain friends make it out there that are very important to the wedding happens, and a lot of my family kind of I don't know, it's definitely going to happen, but I don't know what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I guess that would probably be my salad too. Is that that you got to have a wedding, and it's possible / maybe likely, just judging by the mentality of America right now, that Jonny and I can't make it out.
Yeah.
It's crazy, fellas, right? Like in March, it was like, we'll just shut this thing down for a month and we'll be good. And it's just silly us. Silly us.
Yeah. We've been really, really bad about the whole pandemic thing, like just like in general, we've just been so bad, and we have nobody to blame but ourselves. So like this sucks, and I don't know. It sucks because like we might lose football, and I don't want that. Nobody wants that. But like that might happen because we suck at handling a pandemic. And same thing with weddings. I have several weddings that I'm supposed to be at that definitely aren't / haven't happened because they were supposed to happen over the summer. And
so I haven't told Jonny this. Well, I think he does know. But for everyone out there, because remember, what was it, last year? Sean, you had like a wedding a week.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Literally, it was like 11
I told
of them,
you,
I think.
I told you about my wedding, and you're like, yeah, I'll come, just don't have me in the wedding.
Yeah.
Well, my groomsman backed out, and I offered Sean
I am what
to
you
stand
might
up with me.
I am what you might call the replacements.
He is the Washington Sentinels
I am Keanu Reeves here.
of my wedding.
Yeah, I am the Keanu Reeves of your wedding.
Oh, man.
The IDP Guys is your #1 resource for IDP information for your fantasy leagues. For as little as $1 a month, get access to all that we have to offer. Rankings, ADP trade calculator, in-season assets, and a Slack chat to get personal help all year round. Purchase today at idpguys.org.
Jonny the Greek.
Alrighty, I found an interesting one for us for this week. I thought this would be great for you guys because you got good odds and a good shot at this. 2020-2021 team with the most regular season losses, NFL. Detroit Lions are not the favorite. They are 5th at plus 1,600. The favorite is actually surprising. It's Jacksonville at plus 250. And then Carolina at plus 700. I'm not seeing that as the second most likely team. Bridgewater is not like amazing, but he's solid. CMC's great. The defense will be okay. Like they really think they're the second crappiest team.
So here's what we're looking at right now. If the season gets canceled 4 weeks in, what happens with these bets?
Nothing probably. You get your money back.
It has to go a full season, or is it going to go by whoever's highest at the time?
Oh, I didn't read the actual rules on it. I assume it's a full season.
Because for me, this is one where you just pick the best payouts and you pick them because who knows what's going to happen. In terms of like the full season bet, if it goes a full season, you want to look at some of those mid-range teams and bet on some of the mid-range teams because any amount of extra COVID over average is going to crush them.
So Chargers plus 3,000, right in the mid-range, great price. I think that's a great bet right there. Washington's only plus 600. I know everyone's thinking Washington. Their price is crappy.
Yep.
I like the Jets. I like the Jets at 1,400.
Yeah, that's true. Their defense is going to be garbage.
Sam Darnold got mono. You know he's getting COVID.
And he sees ghosts.
Yep.
And
true.
Yeah, ghosts.
I could see that. That's a good bet. It's definitely not going to be the Lions, though. I mean, if Stafford gets hurt, maybe, but...
Well, that's what I'm saying, is like, you look at teams that are not totally dependent on their quarterback because like the Lions, if Stafford got COVID, he'd be out for 2 weeks, right? And then he's back, and then the team's back to normal. But you look at teams that are like kind of borderline, and it's like, okay, if COVID struck this team, they don't have much depth, and they're not totally reliant. Like, they don't have one player lifting them up that could just like bring them back from 2 weeks, you know? So someone like the Chargers.
Chargers are perfect. Yeah.
Chargers would be great. Denver is probably too good a team, but a team that's built like that, you know, where there's no like one guy that's like holding them together. So you look at the teams with the average quarterbacks.
Right. Denver starts with a real hard schedule too. I remember reading that somewhere. They got like a murderous row to start the year. Because everyone's on that Drew Lock hype. So
I like Drew Lock.
I like him too.
I had him graded above Haskins.
Yeah, I just don't see like a Mahomes level season or whatever.
No,
like,
absolutely nobody sees that. Nobody sees that for anybody ever.
Yeah, I don't know. So Sam, this all comes from Sam. This is the guy he's planted his flag on this year. So you know, we're expecting that caliber season. Lamar, Mahomes, something.
Lamar and Mahomes. Mahomes is just that good. No one saw it coming. I had him as my QB1, and I obviously didn't see this coming. Lamar had that upside, but he had to make it happen. Drew Lock is a guy that's going to exceed current expectations or what the expectations were, and he doesn't have the upside on that level.
I do like his offense, though. He's got a lot of weapons.
His weapons are great.
Right. Yeah, Chargers. There you go.
There it is. Alrighty. Well, thanks everyone for sticking with us. That wraps up our show today. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at IDP Guys. Individually, I'm at Nate Cheat. Jonny is at OrangeMan3142, and Sean is at Lanny1925. Subscribe to the show. Go to idpguys.org, and on the sidebar, you'll find links for iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and an RSS feed for the podcatcher of your choice. While you're there, become a subscriber. We have rankings, ADP, trends. We've got subscriber chat, all sorts of things to win your league. And I highly recommend getting the magazine level membership, because then you get you get access to our magazines every year for the rookie drafts, as well as we have some new magazines in the works for next year. So possibly in the work for next year. So keep an eye out for that, and make sure you're following our YouTube channel, Writer Digest Network, REITER for Writer. That's where if you're watching this, you're watching it on our YouTube channel. And also, if you're looking for a fantasy football shirt, go to myfantasyfootballshirt.com. If you're looking for a league shirt, Sean here is representing his Rasta League shirt, which you can make a purchase for. It's a Rasta banana on a shirt. And so we do custom league shirts. If your league would like a shirt to show off and show the world that you play fantasy football in a very interesting league, hit us up.
Why are you making this sound weird?
myfantasyfootballshirt.com.
We've been doing this league for 10 years. It's an awesome league. It's our home league. We have a special name for it. We have tradition. I'm sure a ton of people out there do. Dude, just tell them what your league's about and have them do a design for it, and everyone in the league can get a shirt. It's sweet. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
How does that shirt feel? Like, everyone's always asking.
The material's fantastic. And I know from the IDP Guys shirt that you can wash this thing a million times on high heat in an apartment and still good.
Yeah.
So absolutely. No, it's super comfortable.
So, Sean, I interrupted you last time mid-sentence. Is there anything you'd like to say this week?
I don't know.